What's up guys, it's Lord Both here with another video, and Ironheart released last night the first 3 episodes in its premiere when it is a 6-episode series.
Hiya!
That is in fact a Marvel miniseries that was originally supposed to be a Marvel series about a Marvel character who first showed up in the second Black Panther film that didn't have Black Panther in it, by the way. A character who was not liked when she was introduced and had her comic run, that is again proving to be about as popular as she was in her comic run.
Not a great plan.
Because this is how we can pretty much gauge how bad a Marvel show or any Disney product, especially Disney Plus shows, are. Because you can't actually gauge them on a natural scale of like, oh, everybody says this is bad when it comes out. Oh, everybody says this is good when it comes out. Because there's a massive amount of shilling and lying and trying to spin numbers and etc. and you can never be quite sure. So you have to read through the lines. And typically what we have found is that when a Marvel or a Disney Plus show comes out and it is dumped pretty much all at once, like this one is, 6 episodes over 2 weeks, and half of the legacy media and online accounts on social media are shilling for it, and the other half are like, this thing actually is terrible, we can pretty much assess that that means that the show is in actuality terrible.
So Samoa Joe, you take your 30-30 and a third chance, minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning at sacrifice.
Because when they have anything to try to hang their hat on to make the show look like a success or say that it's actually good, the shills in social media, but also especially the legacy media, will come out and run with that if they can. But in this case, it's one of those cases just like Echo and other shows where even the legacy media is coming out and saying, yeah, this ain't it, chief. This ends up giving us review articles from places like Forbes entitled Marvel's Ironheart is not good so far. And while I won't go through the whole article for you, I'll basically give you a synopsis. They essentially say Riri Williams is kind of a terrible character.
Yes.
And a bad person. And the writing for the show is terrible. And this is coming from industry shill Paul Tassi. This one from Polygon, Ironheart won't make Riri Williams Marvel's next Tony Stark. And guess what? The show talks about how Riri Williams is kind of a terrible person, bad character, and the writing is all over the place and terrible. You also have this article here, a review from Empire, in which they state that the decisions by Riri Williams are a mountain of selfish, morally questionable decisions that make Riri hard to root for over the season. This is the most aggressively unheroic hero the MCU has ever produced. Rarely does she save or fight for someone other than herself.
That escalated quickly.
And if you were hoping for some impressive armored action, manage your expectations. The VFX may look polished, which they definitely went back to the drawing board and spent more time on that because they knew they were getting absolutely trolled and blasted in the comments and replies about how terrible her suit looked, like cheap Power Rangers level stuff. So they made that look better. Unfortunately, she doesn't really do much in it except, from what they say here, fly around. And you also have this article from well-known alt-right media pipeline Rolling Stone magazine, in which Rolling Stone entitles this Ironheart is Marvel's gamble on a minor MCU hero, it doesn't pay off. In which they state that Ironheart unfortunately seems destined to fall well short of iconic status.
Okay.
But those are just some of the legacy media reviews. What are the actual polls of the audience saying? Well, IMDb's rating is at 4.7 out of 10 stars. You can see the breakdown of the graph there. And of course, this graph has immediately led to accusations of review bombing.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
It's funny because if I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times and so many other people have said it. If it was review bombing, where are all the people that absolutely love this show to come out and counter the review bombers? it never works. It never makes sense. As in terms of the Rotten Tomato score, you can see here 67 from the critics, 68 from the audience. By the way, those scores when they released were in like the high 70s, so they've consistently have trended downward. And when you go to the top critic score, as you can see there, 47%, quite a bit different. To be honest, I think in terms of ratings, this thing is probably going to bottom out in the mid to high 50s, maybe low 60s. But that's really where I think it will trend down to. I don't think it's going to get a lot further than that. Update. Ironheart has experienced a continuous slipping or continuous plummeting in its popular review ratings, depending on which site you use. But the trend definitely seems to be going negative. And the social media response to this by some accounts has been, well, about what you think it would be.
You are racist.
Here from a page called POC Culture, they state on Twitter X, you look at any positive reactions of Ironheart and it's just full of racists having meltdowns.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
Way more crying than any typical film or show. Really, because you complain about us crying a lot just because we notice how inadequate your shows are, that you say are just all amazing just because they have black people and brown people in it. These losers really can't handle a show starring a black woman superhero.
Nope.
No, what we don't like is a black woman superhero that's doing an impression of Tony Stark, is a very poorly written character and kind of a terrible person that they make her out to be, who is also a criminal and goes through more of a villain origin story arc, and that's ignoring the whole slew of other problems with the show that have been brought up. And you even have the big boys like Discussing Film coming out and putting these kinds of posts. Despite what online trolls want you to believe, Ironheart is one of the far better MCU shows in recent years.
You are coping and seething.
Then they post their little link to their review, and the best part about all this, they lock their replies. Every single time, man, every single time we have to deal with this. They produce lazy, bad written art. It stars black and brown people. The show gets criticized for being bad and having bad characters. Forced race swaps and gender swaps and decisions that are clearly made, casting decisions that are clearly made for diversity's sake and diversity's sake alone. And then when we criticize all of it, we're called racist. Even though it was all a bunch of people in production that made these decisions to hire people based upon their skin color or where they come from or what bits they have and where they like to put those bits for fun, rather than merit, character, and story. And this is something that goes back even to Marvel itself with the creation of this character, which was another character who was a black or brown person, essentially picking up the crumbs of a white character, Tony Stark.
It's Hollywood, baby.
And the astonishing thing is they do this every single time, and they think it's somehow going to change people's opinions or their reactions or get more people to watch the show in some way, running cover for it by calling all the critics racist. And yet somehow it's never worked in their favor. It's never gotten more people to actually join and watch the show. What I'm actually really interested in seeing is the actual viewership numbers, because I'm going to guess that the viewership numbers on this thing are low. Like, really, really low. Like, the lowest possible of probably any Marvel project. And it's insane when you think about how much money this show costs and how it's been essentially in production since 2020. And the big thing of how you can tell that Marvel didn't have faith in this project is they dumped it. They didn't release it weekly like they do their other shows that they think are actually going to be a success. They dumped it the same way they dumped Echo, that they knew was going to be a failure. And they even cut it from an actual series to a mini-series because they knew just prolonging this thing was going to cost them money.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
And at the end of the day, this thing is going to cost them money. And I think this whole character is going to be resigned to the dustbin of the MCU history. We're never going to see her again, just like we're not going to see a lot of other characters ever again, and that's just the end of it. Especially after Doomsday and Secret Wars, when they pressed the whole reset button on this entire thing. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go and leave in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.